Hello, Judy here from Thistledew Creations. I'm going to do some more non-traditional Christmas colors today. I did these two in the last video, and I just decorated these pockets that I'm getting ready to send out for Happy Mail at Christmas time. Probably mostly in late November, early December is when I'll use these, and it's now late October. But I just want to get ahead of it, so I've got a pile of them here that I inked up. I made them all in front of the TV one night, inked them up in front of the TV last night, and we'll decorate them today together. So I'm trying to use non-traditional colors for these little Christmas things. I've got some trees out that they're fairly traditional, but they have the blue edges. And then there's some other little things that I've just cut out of Christmas cards. So I like these little guys. I thought I'd like to use them. Give them some ink. Some inky love. I don't need a lot of help, but just a little bit of help. And then what kind of background? I think I'll use the same background I used with these bottle brush trees, but I'm going to not forget that I can make this a tuck spot. I glued this right down, and then I realized that could have been another pocket. So I'm going to make this a tuck spot, and then I'll use these trees to decorate it. So I'm going to leave it up enough so that you can see this inked border around the outside. So I'm going to cut it about here, and then I'll center that up. And then I'm going to heavily ink this top edge. The other thing you could do with the top edge, in this case, instead of inking, is you could glitter it. So let me do that just to see. This will require some drying time, but I'd like to do it. So let's do it. I've got silver stars and I've got iridescent stars. So I think I'm going to use the iridescent. They're white iridescent star glitter, or whatever you want to call it. And what I did for my poppy centers, I'm going to try again here. It's just clear nail polish that has gone yellow on me. And I'm just putting it along the edge, quite a bit of it. Normally I would ink that edge. And I don't want it too regular, like I want a jagged edge. And this is probably going to use this up. So just splatter it everywhere on top of the Isn't that pretty? Pink and blue. So I better let that dry before I continue. So in the meantime, we'll start another. I'll set this on top of this plastic packaging over to my side here. And put what glue will shake back, I will shake back into my little vial. And I would just like to kind of clean up as much of it as I can, but I'm getting other little paper scraps in it here now. It's not that it's expensive, it's just that I don't have very much left. Put that into the garbage. I might have to get a fresh one next time. Okay, so let's start. I'll set that aside to use with that, and let's start a different one. So I've got these little doilies, and I thought that I would use the pink lace doily with some music paper coming out. We've got a big surface here to cover. So let's use this larger piece of vintage music paper and just kind of cut it unevenly like that. And I'll heavily ink that top edge. Use my inking page to help me because that is very fragile paper. I just love the way that makes the edge look even darker. Now this is too fragile to be a tuck spot, so I'm going to glue it right down, and this will be just a collage on the front of this one. Now I could make this a tuck spot because it's cardstock, so maybe we'll do that, but this has to be glued down. It's too fragile. So I'm using this Chinese one. I'm just going to do it right on the pocket because if I put it on the back of this music paper, it'll probably tear it. I did glue right to the edge, but I'm going to just leave the edge showing. Like so. And then I'm going to ink this. And actually, I think I'm going to change my mind on which doily I'm going to use. I'm going to go ahead and ink this since I'm already doing it. But I just thought of a better combination because I brought this out to use. So let me just cut some off. I've got a whole roll of this. And what I thought I would do is put some up here. That's the open edge. This, I could put it up this edge easier, couldn't I? So let's do that. And I'm gonna have just the little ribbon tails sticking up beyond the edge of the paper. So I'm just going to cut those. That didn't give me a very even one. The idea is you fold it in half, line up those edges. And cut both tails at the same time. You get the same angle and they'll come to an equal point. So have that up there and then maybe coming to a square or an angle down here. That's not enough of an angle for me. There we go. So like that. And this is the edge where it's all glued together. So it's folded over on this side to make more tuck spots. So I'll put this down with the 3-in-1. I don't want to cover those 1, 2, 3, 4. I really don't. I think that's charming. So let's put this here instead, just sticking up there and coming to a point here. I think I'm going to be covering this anyway. And I'll just cut it on an angle regardless. Yeah, I just can't cover that. That's too cute. Sometimes you just see something you want to leave it as part of the collage. So that goes all the way down the side and just leave that end sticking up. I could leave that sticking down a bit too, but I don't think I'm going to. I could have left it long. Okay, and then I think I'm going to do 1/4 of this, roughly, a little more than 1/4, and leave it as a tuck spot. And some people might think, oh, you're making that pretty pink, all dirty looking. I was like, yeah, now it looks right. To me. This is a little bit lacy for a tuck spot edge, but it's cardstock, so I think it can handle it. So I just got to figure out how big that's going to be. And of course, I didn't need to use that much ribbon because I am covering it up, but that's all right. Actually, I'm going to cut it so that I can use the other edges. So I'll leave a little bit more off the edge of the page. And again, I keep doing that, grabbing those straight scissors. I want to cut this with the ripple scissors. And then I'll have a little bit more of that edging that I can use in different ways, on different cards. Maybe it'll end up in the same journal, maybe it won't. So that looks cute. And then that needs to be glued down with, in my case, I'm going to use 3-in-1 right on the edge. So there's room to tuck something in there. You could sew it. You could use double-edged tape, double-sided tape. I'm going to leave this edge of the ribbon showing, instead of having it way down in the corner. And I don't know if that really needs clamping. It's gluing up pretty quick, I think. So then what can we put on top of that? Maybe a little bottle brush tree? Is that too bright? What else we got? Oh, we've got a really pretty soft poinsettia, but it's a bit big. Could fussy cut it. It'd still be a bit big. I think that tree is too bright. I know what I want to tuck in it, so maybe that'll help me. I've got this little tag that can tuck in there. So we got like green and pink. So that, if that's going in, then I want some green on the outside. And I could put this further up in the pockets and have just like a green and a pink tree. I don't need all of them. Of course, this would fit in too, wouldn't it? It'd be a shame to cut it up. I think I got this in a swap. If it was you that sent it to me, comment down below. Join in. If I did get it in a swap, it'll be in a video somewhere of who gave it to me, because I always film what I got. There's a tiny little pink poinsettia. This one would maybe look good even if I let it hang off the edge. So let's do some fussy cutting. So I'm going to go in from the end where I can get into those deep V's. This is hardly visible on the pink background. I might be kind of making up some shapes because I can't really see where it starts and stops. And I am going to ink this, so I'm not too concerned about being exactly on the edge of the leaf. I'm not leaving a big border, but if there's a little bit of the pink background color, it doesn't matter. So don't be afraid to try some fussy cutting. You'll get better at it the more you do. The first time you fussy cut something, it might look quite wonky. And now here, I just made a mistake of lifting my scissors and starting again in the middle of what should have been a smooth cut. So I got to go back and fix that. Just gently squeeze and move the paper, not the scissors. My elbow is resting on the table to steady my hand, my scissor hand. Scissor hand. And then you can come in to make those deep V's. You can come in from the other side and go in to the point. It doesn't take very long to get around something even that intricate. Certainly not the most intricate thing that I've ever cut either. So I've got pink and green going on here, but I think it needs a little bit more green. Maybe I'll ink these leaves with a brighter green. I've got a bright green in here. My Stampin' Up, they're classic Stampin' Spots from Stampin' Up, Bold Brights. So I think it needs, let's see what this gives me. Do it on one of these scraps. Yeah, I think that'll work. So I'm just using one of these blending brushes for this. And just making that a little brighter so it blends better with those bright greens. Don't have to do the whole leaf, just sort of the edges and the tip. And that way I don't get any on the pink of the poinsettia leaves. It was just a little dull. That right back, because I got enough things out already. You know that with this crafting mess problem, half of it is just that we don't put things away. At least that's my biggest problem. And then these pink leaves, when I ink them with the ground espresso, they just come to life. They still look pink, but they just look more real. They'll pop off the page more. It almost ends up looking like it's the shadow around it, so it almost makes it look like it's lifted off the page. And I will go ahead and ink just the edges of the green leaves as well. Not trying to make them shaded with the brown, just detail outline. So now that shows up a lot better on that already pink background. It's a different shade of pink, plus then the inking. And see, I've got that little silver circle in the middle of that poinsettia. I might want to put some more dimension on that too. I don't know. This is going to be hanging off the page, which I think gives it a bit of interest. I don't want it hanging up this way. I want it all going down. So which way do I want it? The leaves can go off. Actually, maybe I'll put the smaller leaf off. It's not as likely to catch on anything. And I'll just use the tacky glue and pretty much glue it right down. So I don't want to glue here, so I'll hold here. So I'll put that down where I want it, and I'll press, and then I'll just make sure that there isn't any oozing out the back before I lay it down on top of somewhere to dry. And I'll ink the back sides of these. Even though this may get glued right down to a page, I'm thinking I'm not going to do so much of that. It might be it might be a tuck spot here or a pocket here. But if it is just pinned in, then at least that backside is already inked. So that little trio of cards just fits perfectly in there. So that'll be someone's happy meal all ready to go. Maybe tuck another ATC or something into it and it's good to go. So let's go back to our nail polish and glitter here. And you could use just the 3-in-1 if you don't have nail polish, but I think most of us have some nail polish. Maybe not everybody, but a lot of us have nail polish in our stash. I have a few hundred bottles because not only am I a bit of a nail polish junkie, or have been in the past, the lady that does my feet uses polish all the time, and she gets rid of them when they're starting to get low and gets new ones. And I have a friend who used to be an Avon lady, and she has given me bags and bags of nail polish to craft with. So I have lots. Several hundred is not at all an exaggeration. So now I'm going to glue this down as a tuck spot. And I might move it up and have these trees kind of down here. And then I've got some white eyelash lace that I'll put in front of them as snow. Actually, I might put them here, a couple layers of it, and then put the trees on top, although that'll be trickier. But let's make this a tuck spot. Let's not forget that we want this to be a tuck spot. And it might require another little bit of glue time. So with a tuck spot, you want to keep your glue close to the edge, not too gloppy. So that you have room to tuck something, and it has room to go, somewhere to go in there. And so I'm going to bring that up. Kind of using the book page to line myself up. I would have done the same thing when I was folding, so I can be reasonably sure that it's reasonably square. Although that doesn't matter either, because I'm probably going to put something up this edge. I just realized that's my edge that it's all glued down. And I don't really like the way it looks. There's nothing really wrong with it, but I just don't care for it. So I'm going to probably put some ribbon up there or something. So we had this. And then I was thinking of this. This is from the Dollar Tree, actually, but of course you can find it more expensive places. I'm not going to bother to try to find the end. I'm just going to get some out. Probably should have taken the time to find the end. But I just want a bit of like a snowy feel here, so I thought I might do a few layers. So I'll start at the bottom and work my way up towards the bottom of this blue. So I just need thin little lines. I'll go all the way across, I think. And I'm going to start so that my first layer is actually going to be hanging off the bottom of the pocket. Like so. Just kind of press that into the glue. I'm not going to cut the excess off right now. Actually, I will over here, but not. I'm not going to cut it to length. I don't want to tug on it until it's firmed up a bit. And then I'm going to go up about maybe about a ½ inch. Put another layer. The row of glue. Nice fine rows. And set that into it. Try not to get my fingers gluey with this. And then another row. And this isn't going to quite make it up to the blue, so we might end up with one more row. Or if I'm feeling like a trio is more in keeping. I could put a row of something else, like the lace or some silver. I think I'm just going to do another row. Just up onto the blue. And then I'm going to set this so that it's on top of it. Actually, maybe I'll lift this one while it's still wet. And I'm going to glue this right down. It could have been a tuck spot, but it's kind of pointy for a tuck spot. And I just want to still have some of this sky above it, behind it. And then I'll put this over top. So these little trees were just cut out of an old Christmas card, one that I didn't care for the total overall composition of it, but I wanted to use the pretty parts of it. So now the trees are sitting in some nice fluffy snow, and then I could just use some more of the pink glitter up here, or I could use some little pinkish stickers or something. I just really need to make a Temu order for some non-traditional Christmas, I think. Maybe it doesn't need anything else. Some gold stars, maybe. I have quite a few sheets of these. Well, not quite a few now. I may have given some away in swaps. My mom had a lot of these in her scrapbooking stuff. You don't see them much anymore, at least where I shop you don't see them, which is mostly thrift stores. Well, you would see them at the thrift stores every once in a while, I would think. But thrift stores and Dollar Trees and Dollarama is where I mostly shop. A bit of a haircut. And so pretty. So we've done two so far, both with a different vibe. And then I've got more of this paper. So I think I'll go ahead and fill this pocket while I'm at it. I don't need to show you, necessarily need to show you 20 things every time I do a video. I'm starting to realize that sometimes doing a more complete project is better than doing a whole bunch of incomplete projects, I think. Let me know if you agree. So for this, I will grab my guillotine. I picked this up on a thrift shopping spree this summer, and I'm so glad that I did, because it makes cutting little tags really easy. So I want 1.5 or 2. I can certainly fit a 2-inch tag into that pocket. And so I'm going to cut a few more while we're here. I love this tag topper. because it cuts the shape and punches the hole right in the center. And then you're left with these little scraps, which I was starting to save these, and I may continue to save them. I don't know. I do save the little hole cutouts, but I was thinking I could use them for leaves or flowers or something, but I haven't really figured it out yet. So for now it's going in the bin. And I will just round the bottom corner so that it goes in and out of the pockets easier. And I didn't ink that piece of blue that I put in there. Should have. It's a little cleaner looking than the background. It stands out, I guess, but I like to ink everything, most always. And the back side is very white for my liking. I'm going to ink it around the edges with the dark. And then I'm going to switch to Vintage Photo and just kind of dirty that up a bit. Vintage it up a bit. Kind of blend it into the ground espresso edging. You could coffee dye it or use other colors or put some paper on the back, but I want to keep them fairly thin because I'm sending them in Happy Mail. If someone else wants to back it, they can. And then for Happy Mail, I probably wouldn't put much of a ribbon through there. But sometimes what I do like to do is put a little hole protector. So for this, if I'm going to stick this in there, then I want a color that will kind of coordinate. I could do just brown, or I could do blue, or even a pink, but I don't think I have a pink one. This one might work. And my hole punch. And I just sort of eyeball it to get it in the middle. I mean, it's not the same color, but it's dark up against the pale. And this is just, this little circle came out of the leftovers of a calendar. And I should have one for the back as well. The back one can just be brown. Or a paler blue, even. Not even sure what that came out of, but it was just punched out of some leftover cardstock of some sort. And that way, getting this done up while I've got the supplies out, it coordinates with the front of the pocket. So when I put it in the pocket, it makes sense that it's there, right? So while I've got the supplies out, I try to do that. Because then to go back later and find the matching thing, it might already be gone or used or tucked away where I'll never find it. So I'm liking that. And then I think just up the side to cover this plain edge, I can ink this edge a little bit. But to cover that plainer edge, I think I'm going to use the black just to give it a pop. I love that. And I'll bring it down just to the snow. So I'll bring it down to about here. And I'll move the star over just a touch. Actually, maybe I don't have to. Gnarly bit off of there. That's not perfectly symmetrical, but it'll do. And I'll go right up Maybe coming over the edge a bit here. And I'll go right up and have this one hang off the top edge. Because it doesn't matter if ribbon hangs off, you're not gonna crease it. You know, you'd have to, I suppose if it was in a book folded over for years, it might get creased. That, and then maybe a little button right there. That's still a bit long. The other thing I could do is ruffle it up a little bit. We could try that. Okay, a little bit of 3-in-1 right along the edge to hold it down. Decide how far up I want it to stick. And then down here, instead of cutting it off, I'm going to put a little dab here, all the way across. And just fold that up into it, like so. And then again, fold it up. I'm going to leave it kind of, like it's not going to fold flat, but I want it to be held down. So I'll have to hold it for a second. And then if I have a little pink button, that would be ideal. And I did have some more buttons that weren't really very Christmassy, and that would be the pink one probably. Maybe a sip of my coffee will help me find it. Okay, I've got a purple one, that'll work. And these were stuck down like stickers, but the adhesive is drying a little bit on these particular ones. So I'm just going to peel it off. It does come off because it's plastic buttons, and I'll use the 3-in-1 to put that right at the bottom of this ribbon. Actually, I'll put it in a little bit to cover this little corner. Just a dab. Pop that down. And then I'm not so sure that I'm crazy about the ribbon sitting so flat like that. Maybe it needs something else, but I do like these couple of little ruffles down here. I hope they stay. So that's really pretty. And then maybe I'll make one more tag to go in there. I've got this book of cardstock from the dollar store. And that's where that paper came from. I don't necessarily want to use the same one again. I think I'll use this one with the pine needles on it. So it coordinates, but it's not the same. And I'll do a bigger tag. So this will do, this punch will do up to 2.5 inches. So let's do a 2.5 inch one and make it longer so that it sticks up. This pocket goes all the way down, I think. Yeah, so that's as far down as it goes, and that's still sticking up. So I can make this pocket, or this tag, this full height, and make it 2.5. I think 2.5 will fit in there. It should, because that's the size of a ATC, and that's how I was sizing those to fit ATCs. So I still might end up putting an ATC in with this if it's an ATC swap, or if it's just an altered playing card or something even. So there's a 2.5 inch piece, and that leaves me with a 1.5 inch piece, which I could then make 1 or 2 more of the tags out of. So the 2.5 is the widest it makes. See how it has the 3 different levels? So the skinnier one goes down in the bottom, the 2 inch goes on this level, and then the 2.5 goes on this level. And it guides it in straight, and then you just push down and you've got your fancy end and your hole cut. And so then I like to round the bottom corners so that it goes in and out of the pocket easier. And just for time's sake, I'm not going to bother decorating it up right now. But you can see then I've got a nice little set to send. And I could do another smaller one like this down in the bottom here. So what I was thinking with this leftover piece is making 2 out of it. So I'll put it in that way and do that. And then I'll put it again in the other end. And then I can get 2 out of it. 2 short ones. And then I just have to figure out about how tall I want it. And hold it against the fence so that it cuts it square. I'm going to do 3 inches and see how that works. I think that works. I can always put it off on an angle too. But it'll definitely need to be inked to be visible in there. Or the other thing I can do is, when I get to some pink cardstock, I could switch that out for a pink tag, but and I'm really inking them does help them show up, especially the ones that have something in front of them that's the same color. There, so you've got your 2 different patterns alternated, and then the 3 different sizes of tags. This one's got a bit of glue or something down in there. Won't let it go. There it goes. And then so they can be altered this way too. Said I wasn't going to ink it, but I am. And then I'll take a break because the boys texted me about a half an hour ago or more now saying they'd be on their way, and they haven't shown up yet. So they'd probably be coming in for coffee soon. Only thing I have left to do is to find some more hole protectors there, but you get the idea. And I maybe do like a green one and a red one just to vary it a little bit. And then these little scraps can be saved for little collages and stuff. So I hope you've enjoyed decorating with me on these. I don't think these were all in the same video, but I'll show you the ones I've done today. I know they weren't all in the same video. But hopefully you're following along. So this is just a bit of a recap. And like I always say, like this was the first one I did today, I think. And they get more complicated as the day goes on. This one's got a lot more going on. I could add some snow down here. I could make up some coordinating tags while I've got this one, which again, that should have been a tuck spot. But that one can be in here, and then I've got 2 more spaces, plus eventually a 3rd place in behind. And something low and horizontal, I think, behind these trees. Or I may even end up gluing them down, because I don't want them to get all bent. But anyway, that's what I've made so far today. I hope you've enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Most of all, have a great day.